What should we be eating to reverse type 2 diabetes? Now, I promise you, this video is going to be different to the healthy, normal, balanced diet because that diet has failed so many of us. This is not going to be about starvation and leaving you climbing the walls. This is not going to be about no taste, no enjoyment. This has been described by some as sensationalist, but it's a proven way of eating to reverse type 2 diabetes fast. You're probably ahead of me on the first part of this. Yes, you will need to reduce your sugar. You likely already know this, but not everyone does. I'm going to give you a 1-minute summary of what the cause of type 2 diabetes is, because this will help when we come to reversing it. Type 2 diabetes is a disease of too much sugar in the blood. This causes your blood to become syrupy. This is like what would happen if you poured sugar into a glass of water. The more sugar you pour in, the stickier, the gummier, the syrupier it becomes. And this sugaration of the blood, this, as it's called, of the blood affects the cells all over the body because it starts sticking in places it shouldn't. And it causes things like blindness, hearing loss, neuropathy, amputation, heart disease, autoimmune diseases, depression, and much, much more. So if type 2 diabetes is a condition of too much sugar, step one to reverse type 2 diabetes is cut down on sugar. We all know that cakes, biscuits, chocolates, and sweets are sugar, but here's where most people get tripped up. Most people don't appreciate that all carbohydrates are sugar. Once you eat carbohydrates, they're digested as sugars. Carbohydrates are simple sugars holding hands. Many carbohydrates break down into simple sugars in your mouth. So all those savory carbohydrates are sugars as far as your body is concerned. Yep, even those so-called healthy carbs that the government say should take up half of your plate. I'm talking about porridge or oatmeal, as you call it in America, whole wheat bread, whole wheat pasta, potatoes, all of them become sugar once you eat them. But it's no wonder people are confused, especially when the advice we get from government on healthy eating is just so damn wrong. To reverse type 2 diabetes, we need to radically or totally eliminate carbohydrates and sugar from our diets. But don't worry, when we take out the sugar, what we'll replace it with is delicious and satisfying. I am not talking about lettuce leaves here. And if you're worried that your carb or sugar cravings, this will be impossible, I promise you that so many of us, like me, were on that carb sugar roller coaster. We were addicted, whether we used the word or not. And the idea of giving up sugar just felt so hard. But for those of us who've jumped off, we've never felt better. So it absolutely is possible for you. Even if you're feeling right now, I don't think I could do without my bread. I don't think I could do without my pasta. I don't think I could do without my rice. I encourage you because yes, you can. Before I explain about what to replace the sugar with, I want to talk about how the healthy eating guidelines and eating according to the government can make your blood sugar soar and have your body swimming in sugar, creating disease. So let's compare. Imagine we've got two breakfasts here, okay? And I want you to think about which of these is the healthiest. On the one hand, we've got a delicious plate of bacon and eggs. Or on the other hand, we've got a tiny 30-gram bowl of cornflakes with 2 slices of whole wheat toast. Okay, so based on the government guidelines in the UK and in many countries around the world, you might say, hey, the cornflakes and toast are the healthier choice, right? But here's the reality. That bowl of cereal and toast equals 14 teaspoons of sugar, and that's before you even sprinkle the sugar on it or put jam on your toast. 14 teaspoons of sugar is 58 grams of sugar for breakfast alone. And our bodies can only handle 6 grams of sugar at any one time. So for that very small breakfast, a very small bowl of cornflakes, I don't think most people are having 30 grams, and also 2 small slices of wholemeal toast. With that small breakfast, we've got 10 times the amount of sugar our body can handle in one go. And we haven't eaten very much, so chances are high we'll be snacking before lunch. and it'll be something else carby, a croissant, something with yet more sugar. So no wonder we're in trouble. We think we're eating healthy and it's hurting us. And in the bacon of eggs, there's less than half a gram of sugar. So you can adjust that portion size to your needs and it'll keep you full right through to the next meal without drowning you in sugar. But you might be thinking, yeah, not sugar, but what about the fat and cholesterol? Keep that thought because I'm coming back to that later. When I talk to people about cutting carbs, they often get upset. Don't take my muffins, don't take my croissants. And I thought this too when I first heard it. And also, don't we need sugar for health? Doesn't my brain need sugar? Yes, we do need sugar. Our brain, our red blood cells, and parts of our kidneys all need sugar or glucose, as it's often called in this context. But newsflash, you don't need to eat that sugar. You don't need to eat that glucose. Here's the beautiful thing. Your body can make glucose on its own through a process called gluconeogenesis. But what about the nutritional value of carbs? Isn't it unhealthy to restrict a whole food group, such as carbohydrates? I'll say it again. Sugar has no nutritional value. Let that sink in. Humans can thrive without eating a single carbohydrate. For anyone insulin resistant, pre-diabetic, or type 2 diabetic, sugar is the #1 threat to your health because your body has shown you it doesn't do well with sugars. So when your blood sugars come down into the healthy range, you reduce your risk of dying from any cause and you increase your life expectancy by 1/3. That is so powerful. You can transform your health by lowering your blood sugar. Simple as that. So let's zoom out. Looking at how our bodies work, a few things we know are true. We're sensitive to sugar. We can only manage 6 grams at a time. Sugar has no nutritional value, and we can make all the sugar we need from protein and fat. If we're cutting out the carbs and sugar, what's left? Let's get into that part. Yeah, we're cutting out the sweets, cakes, biscuits, we're cutting out the crisps, the crackers, the pizza, we're cutting out the carbs like bread, pasta, rice, and whole grains. And of course, we're going to exclude ultra-processed food. They are all the foods with a long list of unpronounceable ingredients and additives that make up the majority of what's in our supermarkets. It's the foods that shouldn't really be called food. These are chemicals that are designed to be addictive. These are the foods that are making us sicker and sicker. We know we want to eat whole foods. So here are the whole foods: meats, especially red meat and the fat that goes with it, fish and seafood, fat, eggs, if tolerated because some people are allergic, and dairy, such as butter, cream, cheese, again, if tolerated because some people are allergic. So those are the whole foods we have to choose from. And you're probably scratching your head thinking, hang on a minute, what about fruit and veg? Yes, I'll come to those in a minute. And you'll see in a moment why I've started off with these whole foods first. So which of these whole foods should we eat? Well, we had a little clue above. To make the glucose our bodies need, we must eat protein and we must eat fat. This is not optional. There are essential amino acids. These are proteins. There are essential fatty acids. These are fats. We cannot live without these. There are no essential carbohydrates. Sugar has no nutritional value. We can live and thrive without it. What? You're probably as confused as I was, but the government tell us not to eat red meat. Hang on a minute. They say don't eat saturated fat or eat in very small quantities. Cut it back massively. This is crazy. There are thousands of people now doing a meat-based diet and reversing their type 2 diabetes and improving their health. And I'll put a link in the comments to Dave Mack's YouTube channel. It's called No Carb Life. And there are hundreds of people telling their personal stories of reversing everything from type 2 diabetes to PCOS to Hashimoto's to depression and even cancer, all through eating red meat and fat. And it is mind-blowing. I've been on a lifelong search for health. What is the healthiest foods to eat? I was vegan for a while. I've been vegetarian. I was turning down the red meat, but my health wasn't where I wanted it to be. And when I found out this, it took me a while to get on board with it. But yes, red meat and fat. But what about cholesterol? Won't I get a heart attack? I asked the same questions. It turns out red meat and the fat that comes with it is one of the most nutrient-rich foods on the planet. For thousands of years, humans and our ancestors have eaten meat. All the essential amino acids, the proteins, all the essential fats that we need for health are in meat, fish, and seafood. And for those who can tolerate them, also in eggs and dairy like butter, milk, and cheese. Therefore, we're going to start with the most nutritious foods. With this way of eating, you're not going to be starving yourself. You can have luxurious breakfasts of bacon and eggs, or steak and eggs, or steak and prawns. And nowadays, yes, we want to be budget friendly. My shopping, and even though I have king prawns, which are a bit more expensive, for one person, it's less than £50 a week. And I love this way of eating. You can get everything you need on a budget. Even minced beef, which is super affordable, you'd be surprised the vitamins and minerals that are in it. And the fat that comes with meat won't make you fat. Many of us have tried the low-fat diet and found we did get fatter. And you may be as shocked as me that there are many vitamins and minerals in meat and fat. So let's take the humble minced beef. I think this will blow your mind. So I've chosen minced beef with 20% fat because the fat is very important. So the vitamins we have here, we've got vitamin B12, essential for nerve function and red blood cell formation. We've got vitamin B6, important for protein metabolism and immune function. We've got niacin, that's sometimes called vitamin B3, and that supports energy and DNA. We've got riboflavin, B2, and that helps in energy production and cellular function. We've got folate, B9, important for cell division and DNA synthesis. And we've got vitamin A, beneficial for vision and immune health. And I'm not stopping there. We've got minerals. We've got heme iron, which is important for oxygen transport. We've got zinc, essential for immune system, wound healing, and DNA synthesis. We've got phosphorus, important for bone health and energy production, and selenium, which acts as an antioxidant and supports thyroid function. We've got potassium for heart and muscle function, and there's still more. There's creatine, which is beneficial for muscle energy and strength. There's conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, and that's a type of fat that has been linked to a lot of health benefits. And then we've got L-carnitine, which supports fat metabolism and energy production in cells. So much bioavailable goodness for your body. When you eat meat, especially red meat, and the fat that comes with it, your body heals because it's exactly what your body needs. Your body needs protein and fat to create the glucose, the process of making sugar, gluconeogenesis. But what about vegetables? Newsflash, vegetables are not necessary. Yes, mind-blowing. In theory, vegetables do have some protein. Let's talk about it. Many of us can't adequately convert the plant protein to an animal protein. And in addition, the plants contain anti-nutrients such as oxalates, lectins, saponins that can harm our health and guts. As an example, you may have heard of nightshade vegetables. These are vegetables including aubergine or eggplant, potatoes, which are already out anyway on the low carb, and peppers. And these plants include an alkaloid called solanine that acts as an insecticide while the plant is growing. These can cause digestive issues, skin issues, difficulty breathing, sickness, joints, and fatigue in some people. And there are many anti-nutrients in vegetables. That's just one example. But are the nutrients in vegetables worth it? And surprisingly, the answer is no. All the nutrients you need in exactly the quantities you need and in the bioavailability you need are already available in animal foods. The nutrients and proteins in plants are ones that humans can't use. And although we do have an ability to convert plant protein into usable animal protein, our ability to do that is not good, and it decreases as we age. So as far as vegetables are concerned, for some people, small amounts of vegetables will be well tolerated. Vegetables are not nutrient dense with the nutrients that we need, and they are dense with anti-nutrients. Think of vegetables, or especially low carbohydrate vegetables we want to focus on if we're reversing type 2 diabetes. Think about them as a garnish rather than the main part of your meal. Don't be piling up. How we've come to discover that some of us are very sensitive to these is we've been piling up our whole plates. When you're vegan and you're only plant-based, you're piling up on plants, trying to fill up yourself, trying to nourish yourself. And these toxins can come to the fore when you're eating such a high volume of vegetables. So for people who are sensitive to the toxins, you will need to eliminate vegetables at least for a while. And especially for people with digestive issues, autoimmune issues, I encourage you to remove all vegetables from your diet and then reintroduce them slowly to see if the issues with. So if you want to eat vegetables, small, low carb green veg, they're not necessary for nutrition, as we've said, but they can be used as a garnish. Fruits. The typical fruits, apples, bananas, pears, melons, are very sweet. They've been genetically engineered to be even much sweeter than they used to be. They don't tend to have the lectins and so on because fruits want you to eat them to disperse their seed. But fruits are very sweet. And when we're trying to reverse diabetes, they can trigger addictions. And you might start off with fruit and end up, face down the bucket of ice cream. While you're trying to reverse your diabetes and so on, I would say remove the fruit because you're going to be raising your blood sugar more than it needs to. You're probably saying now, what? No fruit and vegetables? What about fibre? But on a low carbohydrate diet, you don't need fibre. You need fibre on the government's recommended 50% carb diet to slow down the digestion of all that sugar. But when you stop eating the sugar, you don't need it. An optimum diet for human health will include animal foods because these include all the nutrients we need for health in the bioavailable form that we can use it. So if you prefer to eat plant only for ethical reasons, supplement your diet carefully. It's not the optimum diet for health, but you may have other reasons to pursue a plant only or vegan diet. It shouldn't be shocking that humans can be healthy on red meat and fat that we've been eating for millennia. But after decades of government guidelines and flawed research, eating red meat has become controversial. In fact, some of my posts on Facebook have been branded as a sensationalist. But the summary here is protein and fats include all the nutrients we need to thrive. This is scientifically known. I tried veganism. I was persuaded by the arguments, but the scientific data show that plant foods alone do not meet all of our human nutritional needs. That was enough for me to say the healthiest diet for humans must include animal foods because animal foods include all the nutrients that we need. And why, if we're looking at a diet for health, would we exclude the one food that includes all the nutrients that we need? Or why would we restrict it so massively when it gives us everything we need? And plants not only don't give us the nutrients that we need in a form that we can use, but they also have anti-nutrients, which can be especially damaging for some people. So we're saying meat, especially red meat, fat, seafood. And for those who can tolerate eggs and dairy, these are the foods that are going to reverse your type 2 diabetes. And you're going to have fun doing it with all of those foods. These are the foods that work with your human biology and not against it. These are the foods that will help you lose the fat, build the muscle, and heal your metabolism so that you feel absolutely amazing. Why aren't doctors and diabetes associations or even the government telling us this? Why is the advice we get from government so back to front? Why do they say eat carbs and cut down on the red meat and the fat that comes with it? It comes down to vested interests. The pharmaceutical industry and the food companies have a big stake in keeping us dependent on their drugs and their packaged foods. And I know this sounds, but when you look at the £1 billion incentives, it starts to make sense. The global diabetes drug market size was valued at over £79 billion in 2023 and projected to grow to £89 billion this year. So the pharmaceutical companies who control the training of doctors have a vested interest in promoting type 2 diabetes as a progressive disease, which will only get worse and which requires lifelong medication. There is actually a disincentive in training doctors to let patients know that their type 2 diabetes can be resolved with a low-carb diet. Take my mum, for example. She's been seeing her doctor for many years. She has a problem with glaucoma. It's caused by high blood sugar. And the doctor said that her sight will continue to deteriorate. She could go blind. And never in all those years was it mentioned that a low-carbohydrate diet can reverse the type 2 diabetes, stop the eye condition from getting worse. And for some people, they find their sight improves. And so that is reversed as well. So we cannot wait. We cannot rely on the doctors, the medical institutions, and the governments. We have to be lions when it comes to our health. I want to say we have to roar. But we do have to take our health into our own hands. So if you decide to try a meat-based diet, the most nutrient-dense food on the planet, with either no or low carbs for 30 days, you'll see a difference in your blood sugar and your health. And if you want to do this with us, join our Happy Sexy Health WhatsApp group to have the chance to join us for our 5-day Vibrant Health Challenge. Remember, type 2 diabetes is reversible. You can turn your health around. You can thrive. If you got value out of this video, please hit subscribe and hit the like button. And don't keep this information to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. See you next time. Stay healthy, sexy people.